I'm really glad today to be with Margot, one of my greatest teacher of Tantra, the well-known teacher of Tantra in the world. Today you have an interview to know about love, êxtase, Tantra. So gorgeous thing, and how can you delight yourself? And I'm here with Margot, the expert of the world, that can give you some tips. If you want to know everything about that, stay here, subscribe here to listen every words of this precious woman, Margot Anand, with me. Thank you to be here.
Okay, Pramod, thank you for this nice introduction. Nice to be with you. You're my favorite samurai.
First of all, I want to ask you, do you have a school of all these teachings of ecstasy that we can learn all these things? Tell me about this SkyDancing School.
Okay, well, I have created a method which is described in a book called The Art of Sexual Ecstasy, which was published in the USA and quite a long time ago, and has become sort of the Bible of, what my schools are teaching, which is called the Love and Ecstasy Training, LET, LET. So that training is unfolding according to what I consider necessary for becoming a great lover and attracting a great lover, being magnetic. And so the first cycle, which is a week long, of this training is sexual healing. Healing the traumatic imprints or memories that are there in us from unfortunate or unsuccessful sexual affairs. Then the second one is developing the multi-orgasmic response, meaning the art of channeling sexual excitement up our central channel, which then we describe and we study, all the way to the crown of the head, the pineal gland, so that our consciousness can expand beyond the boundaries of the body. And so we become one with all that is. And the third cycle is the art of channeling the energy together with a partner so that we can enter into a mystical experience where we have the marriage between Shakti, which is pure energy, and Shiva, which is pure consciousness. And so the embodiment of energy through the goddess Shakti in the Hindu Tantra and through the god Shiva in the Hindu Tantra for consciousness is basically what happens when we do this practice with a partner. But we could also do it with ourselves alone. So these are the first most important 3 steps. And then there's more steps, but I'm not going to go into too many details. But I'm saying this has become very successful, and we are not very big in marketing because right now we have 90 people on our waiting list for our trainings, and we keep on creating new trainings because we have so many people who want to join us. So the school is called SkyDancing Tantra Institute, and the word SkyDancing comes from the influence of Buddha Padmasambhava and Yeshit Sogyal, his partner, who were alive in the 8th century Tibet. And if you want more details on that, there is a book called The Sky Dancer, translated from old Tibetan texts by Keith Dorman and published by Shambhala Publication. So that's my answer.
How because this training, love and ecstasy training, exists for more than 30 years now. It's really successful. Everybody, everywhere in the world, it's quite amazing place. What is the main tools that you bring to people in this everyday life that people can really improve yourself?
Well, in the book, The Art of Sexual Ecstasy, it's a step-by-step process, and there's many couples that elected to do one chapter a month in their home practices, and I take it from the beginning, and I take people through many, many practices and exercises all the way to bliss. Bliss meaning expanded states of consciousness where you feel happy, you feel united within yourself, with your partner, and this is really the natural human state, according to me. That's how we should all, be, and that is what the churches and states are not wanting us to cultivate too much, because when we do, we become independent. We don't want to be obedient to the rules that they give us. We want to create our own life according to the way we decide. So that is something that organizations, churches, states don't like very much.
If you want to have a sexual tip now from Margot Anand to improve your life, is the time. Give some really sexual tip to people can improve their life.
Sexual tips to improve your life.
Yeah.
Well, develop the witness in you, meaning be aware of how your consciousness manages your reality, and allow your consciousness to observe itself. How do you respond to the situation? If you respond negatively, it's a sign that you are in your ego, you are caught in the patterns of your personality, which is crafted by the influences of your family, of the way you were raised, of the schools you attended, but it's not really you. So spiritual teachers say this is an illusion. You have to move beyond that. So if consciousness becomes aware of itself as a witness to what is going on, then there is a moment of freedom where consciousness can choose to go in the negative, which is the old habit that we're surrounded with, bad news on the TV, wars in the world, easy to fall trapped into this kind of tendency to see the negative. It's a no-no. If you want to succeed in your spiritual evolution, forget about it. Don't go there. But there is another direction, which is become aware of what is your spiritual calling, what is your spiritual destiny, how do you want to evolve, where do you want to arrive at in your spirituality, and who do you want to be, and then go in that direction. Direct your focus and your behavior and your way of speaking to that direction. If you want to be an ecstatic being, if you want to be a positive person, then you have to manifest that.
We are talking about also sexuality with spirituality, but most of people, I think, don't think that it's a match, spirituality and sexuality. Because nowadays many people go to internet, to pornography, and don't really understand that. But really, sexuality can match the spiritual.
Yeah, well, in SkyDancing Tantra, this method is one of the rare spiritual approaches that takes into account what happens below the belt. Okay, that is our sexuality, because most spiritual approaches and teachings tend to focus on what happens above the belt. Like, you meditate, you kind of, you're here. But what happens below the belt is basically the electrical currents of your excitement that need to be channeled, that need to be transmuted. And that is what SkyDancing Tantra is. It's the transmutation of sexual energy into expanded states of consciousness. So that you have a physical orgasm, which is the orgasm of the body, and then you have a spiritual orgasm, which is ecstasy.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah, and ecstasy means X outside and stasis what is fixed. So it's like standing outside of your ordinary consciousness.
Oh, and she teaches this in love and ecstasy training that it happens also in Brazil. That's so amazing.
Yeah, we actually taught in Brazil, and I have a book that was published in Brazil. Yeah, The Art of Ecstasy, Arte do Êxtase.
Oh my God.
So, I'm gonna ask you to please mention the organization that is bringing me to Brazil, because I teach in Brazil.
Okay, they have an organization that's called Mundo that is run by Fernando and Puni in Brazil. That is the organization that nowadays running love and ecstasy training in Brazil. That's great guys, it's great friends that I love it, and they organize this. You can go to Mundo in Instagram and find Fernando and Puni, that is the organizers in Brazil. That another teachers also, ones of good teachers is coming to Brazil to teach love and ecstasy training. You have nowadays cycle 1, 2, 3, and maybe next year we will have the fourth cycle of love and ecstasy training in Brazil. Really, thank you. But I want to ask you about ecstasy. That is so nice sensation, feelings that you can have in your life, and how you can have sex and ecstasy together.
Well, I mean, one who is lucky enough to have a good sexual orgasm feels ecstatic. You know, I mean, because your excitement grows and grows and grows until you have the climax, the sexual climax, which is a place where the mind doesn't have a place anymore. The mind is not busy practicing foreplay and exciting your partner or yourself. Now you enter into a place of expansion of energy and consciousness beyond the control of the mind. And that in itself is felt as a blissful experience, because you're not controlling, you're letting go, you're allowing, you are done.
One thing that comes to my mind that most people have a normal common problems like premature ejaculation, lack of pleasure, and all these things. We are talking so higher things that's now we are talk about ecstasy, love, and this can help normal people also. The people that have this kind of problem with frigidity, premature ejaculation.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We just have methods, 1, 2, 3, ABC, method of breathing. People who are frozen often have negative memories from their past. We're not a therapy school. We advise people to follow a therapy if they need to, parallel to the training. We just teach methods of breathing, of movement, that allow people's energy to flow through and give them a positive experience. And it works for all sorts of people. I have worked now with 40,000 people around the world through the agency of my institute, and I have had work with people who don't speak a word of my language, and I don't speak a word of their language. I have had experiences working with people that are 18, 19 plus, and I remember a feedback from a couple where she was 83 and he was 84 years old, and they took the mic and they testified that they had the best sex life of their life.
Oh my God. That works for everyone. That means that you have, doesn't matter what stage are you in your sexual life, in your lover, that works for everyone, and it's really good. And I can say it about myself also, that it really improved my love making.
Yeah, and you know what? It works for everyone, including heterosexual people, homosexual people, transgender people, and also it works for people at different levels and of different ages. So it's also important to say that it works even if you come alone, that you don't have to have a partner in the training. What you need to do is to organize yourself so that you become magnetic, because you yourself are open, your channels are open, and when you become magnetic, you automatically attract the partner. So that's what's happening.
One thing that I really want to know, what is for you, what's the meaning of love? What is love for you? What is this word that we are talking so much here?
Oh God, well, you know that there's so many different meanings for the word love. There is attraction of the heart, there is sexual attraction, still people call it love. There is the love for the divine, and that is compassion. That is what the Buddhists want us to cultivate, and they're right, we should. There is love for chocolate cakes. And we say, I love chocolate. That's me. You know. Then there's love for music. You know, there's so much different kinds of love, and we each are capable of love according to our level of consciousness. If we are ignorant, uneducated, and not particularly caring about growing into a more aware person, then our love is limited. Our capacity for love is limited. And if we are expanding our consciousness and we're looking for the right partner who could do that with us, share that reality with us, then our love is expanding. And I describe this in detail in my book, The Art of Sexual Magic. So that is a possibility to use sexual energy as a motor to carry and arrive at the manifestation of your wish, of what you want to create, particularly if you want to create a partner in your life. So I have done that several times. It works. You know.
For most of people, this thinking, oh, sexual can create everything that you want in your life is a big thing. That is, you also teach that in your trainings also. The magic of...
Yeah. Well, that's a separate training. It's not the love and ecstasy training, it's the art of sexual magic training.
Oh, it's amazing also.
Yeah.
But for most of people, I think it's difficult to understand how sex can create your life and how sex is manifesting in your life. Can you explain more about that and how give us some tip for these people that even the first time that he heard about that, how you can create and manifest in your life with your sexuality?
Well, I live in various parts of the world. One is Paris, another one is in Thailand. Anyway, what I would say is there's more and more cities and places where they have a lot of fun teaching a process called speed dating.
Speed dating?
Yeah. So you go and you have maybe 30 people in the group, and people sit at the table, men on this side, women on this side. It's all based on the idea that, you want to meet a man, you want to meet someone of the opposite sex or the same sex. That's also working. So you have 1 minute to look at the person, to say hello, and to say something meaningful to that person. And then the bell rings, and you move to the other, and you move to the other. And when you have met one person that you feel attracted to, or that you want to meet again, you put a cross under their name. Means you're going to have a chance to meet them outside of that process or outside of that group.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then there is the famous Burning Man in America where people meet and fall in love. It's a big festival, and there's all these celebration festivals all around the world where you can meet people. It's so easy now. So people who say that they're sorry they don't meet anybody, it's because they're not making the effort, because that's not their priority. If meeting somebody was your priority, you would do so. You would meet someone. Everybody's looking.
Yes, for sure. Everybody wants to have a lover, to love and be together. One thing that I'm thinking here is like for a beginner, real beginner, that's the first time that he's listening about Tantra now, and then because we're talking about ecstasy, love, and what is the first step that a beginner can do for starting?
Breathing.
Breathing?
Yes.
In what way?
Well, if you don't pay attention to your body or your breathing, because you're in the office or you're busy, then you have a shallow breathing. You inhale just from here or here to your chest, and you don't go deeper, so you don't connect with your sexual center energetically. So there is no energy flowing through. That's number one. Number two is interest, wanting to find out. The information is all around. There's so much of it nowadays. It's really easy to find out about Tantra. And it's important to know that, according to me, the best school in this field is the school of SkyDancing Tantra, because we have been around for 35 years. We have published many books which sold 1 million copies, and the founder is still around to teach. And so, we're serious. We're really doing it. We have integrity, we have experience, and we have helped thousands of people. So don't look any further. Come and check out the SkyDancing Tantra program.
The SkyDancing Tantra School of Tantra for me is the best one and really well known everywhere. If you think about Tantra, you have to try SkyDancing Tantra School. It's an amazing school, and it's nowadays coming to Brazil some few years. It's so amazing to have to be with you and have your teachings. But we talk a lot here about orgasm also, how to have this ecstasy and things. But if you're beginning to listen, that's most people say that's not true. They are, and then because most of people it's like in the beginning step that it's difficult to feel pleasure itself. But you say about breath, you say many things, but for reach the orgasm, what is the important thing to reach our orgasm?
Everybody knows orgasm, otherwise we wouldn't be alive on this planet.
You can have it.
Everybody knows about, sexual connection, and the orgasm can be, more or less intense, can last more or less long time. What to say? I mean, it is a vibration that becomes involuntary once the excitement is strong enough. It's difficult for men and women to adjust, because when men are ready, they want to make love right away because they have an erection and now is the time, whereas women have to go through the heart first, and so therefore they have to be seduced and wooed and talked to and invited. So it takes usually a little longer to be in the intimate moment that lovemaking can happen. So the orgasmic process is intense excitement and then release or not. In other words, either you take the energy and you channel this energy through a central channel, through your different energy centers, the sex, the navel, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, the pineal gland, and the crown. And when this electrical current is channeled through these various centers, different sensations happen, different types of orgasmic responses happen. And this is what people learn when they enter into SkyDancing Tantra. And I want you to stop talking about the normal, ordinary people who don't know anything, because everybody knows lovemaking. Everybody knows sex. Everybody knows breathing. And it's all available to us. And we're all deciding whether we want to focus on that or whether we prefer to make a lot of money and we'll focus on that later. You know, I think that it's important to include in the human intelligence level the so-called ordinary people that are as gifted and as capable of having a great time as anybody else.
Thank you, Margot.
Yeah.
Really, thank you. Another thing that's, for me, it's a question is meditation and sexuality. Most, because have some gurus that put meditation here and sexuality over there. But how it really can work together?
Well, meditation is the art of slowing down, of being aware of how your consciousness is relaxing and welcoming the energetic perception of existence all around. Sorry. And to make your lovemaking into a meditation means that you are going inside and you're becoming aware of how your energy is moving through your body and how you can transmute this energy and transfer this energy to your partner, how your partner is moving, how you can move together. It's an awareness of the movement of the relationship between energy and consciousness. And so when you're aware of this connection between your energy and your consciousness, you can arrive at wonderful connection with your partner. And then you can arrive at the transmutation of the mind, and the sexual energy becomes a carrier, in a way of carrying your energy to very subtle levels of excitement, and it's a wonderful experience.
So, okay, I just I'm going to the end of this interview that